it is not possible to definitively state whether a vehicle will pass inspection without considering several key elements. The overall condition of the vehicle is paramount. This includes, but is not limited to, the functionality of all safety features, the structural integrity of the frame, and the proper operation of all mechanical components. A thorough assessment of the vehicle's condition should precede any attempt at inspection. Secondly, the specific type of inspection being conducted is a critical factor. Different inspections focus on different aspects of the vehicle. A state-mandated safety inspection will likely focus on items such as brakes, lights, tires, and steering. An emissions inspection will focus on the vehicle's exhaust system and its compliance with environmental regulations. A pre-purchase inspection will typically be a more comprehensive assessment of the vehicle's overall condition, including both safety and mechanical aspects. The requirements for each type of inspection can vary significantly. Thirdly, the location of the inspection is also a relevant consideration. Inspection standards and procedures can vary from state to state, and even from one locality to another. It is essential to be aware of the specific requirements in the jurisdiction where the inspection is being conducted. This includes understanding which items are subject to inspection, the criteria for passing or failing each item, and any applicable fees or documentation requirements. To determine inspection readiness, one should firstly assess the condition of the vehicle. Begin with a visual inspection of the exterior. Check for any signs of damage, rust, or corrosion. Pay close attention to the condition of the body panels, bumpers, and glass. Ensure that all lights, including headlights, taillights, brake lights, and turn signals, are functioning properly. Check the tires for wear and tear. Look for any cuts, bulges, or uneven wear patterns. Use a tire pressure gauge to ensure that the tires are inflated to the proper pressure. Inspect the windshield wipers for damage and ensure that they are operating smoothly. Next, inspect the interior of the vehicle. Check the operation of all safety features, including seatbelts, airbags, and the horn. Ensure that all gauges and warning lights are functioning properly. Check the condition of the seats and carpets. Look for any signs of wear, tear, or damage. Inspect the operation of the windows and door locks. Next, move on to the mechanical components of the vehicle. Start by checking the fluid levels, including engine oil, coolant, brake fluid, power steering fluid, and windshield washer fluid. Ensure that all fluids are at the proper levels and are free from contamination. Inspect the engine for any signs of leaks or damage. Listen for any unusual noises coming from the engine. Check the condition of the belts and hoses. Look for any cracks, fraying, or leaks. Inspect the battery terminals for corrosion. Ensure that the battery is securely mounted. Inspect the brake system. Check the brake pads for wear. Look for any leaks in the brake lines. Ensure that the brakes are functioning properly. Inspect the exhaust system. Check for any leaks or damage. Ensure that the exhaust system is securely mounted. Inspect the steering system. Check for any looseness or play in the steering wheel. Look for any leaks in the power steering system. Ensure that the steering is functioning properly. After completing the visual inspection, it is advisable to take the vehicle for a test drive. Pay attention to the way the vehicle handles and performs. Listen for any unusual noises or vibrations. Check the operation of the brakes, steering, and suspension. Ensure that the vehicle is accelerating smoothly and efficiently. During the test drive, pay attention to the operation of the transmission. Ensure that the transmission is shifting smoothly and efficiently. Listen for any unusual noises coming from the transmission. Check the operation of the air conditioning system. Ensure that the air conditioning is blowing cold air. Listen for any unusual noises coming from the air conditioning compressor. If any issues are identified during the inspection or test drive, it is important to address them before attempting to have the vehicle inspected. This may involve performing repairs, replacing worn parts, or adjusting components. In addition to assessing the condition of the vehicle, it is also important to gather information about the specific type of inspection that will be conducted. Contact the inspection facility or the relevant government agency to obtain a list of the items that will be inspected and the criteria for passing or failing each item. Review the inspection checklist carefully and ensure that the vehicle meets all of the requirements. It is also important to be aware of any specific procedures or documentation requirements that may apply. For example, some inspection facilities may require proof of insurance or vehicle registration. Others may require the vehicle to be inspected by a certified mechanic. Once the vehicle has been thoroughly inspected and any necessary repairs have been made, it is time to schedule an inspection. Choose a reputable inspection facility and schedule an appointment in advance. On the date of the inspection, arrive at the facility with all of the necessary documentation. Be prepared to answer any questions that the inspector may have about the vehicle. After the inspection is complete, the inspector will provide a report indicating whether the vehicle has passed or failed. If the vehicle has failed, the report will list the specific items that need to be addressed in order to pass. Address any failed items promptly and return to the inspection facility for a re-inspection. Keep in mind that some inspection facilities may charge a fee for re-inspections. By following these steps, one can increase the likelihood of passing a vehicle inspection. However, it is important to remember that even a well-maintained vehicle may fail inspection if it does not meet all of the applicable standards. Therefore, it is essential to be prepared for the possibility of failure and to be willing to address any issues that are identified. Now, let's consider some specific examples of items that are commonly inspected and the criteria for passing or failing each item. Brakes are a critical safety feature, and they are typically subject to a thorough inspection. The inspector will check the brake pads for wear. If the brake pads are worn below a certain thickness, they will need to be replaced. The inspector will also check the brake rotors for damage or wear. If the brake rotors are damaged or worn, they will need to be replaced. The inspector will also check the brake lines for leaks. If there are any leaks in the brake lines, they will need to be repaired. The inspector will also check the operation of the parking brake. The parking brake should be able to hold the vehicle securely on a hill. Lights are another important safety feature, and they are also subject to inspection. The inspector will check all of the lights on the vehicle, including headlights, taillights, brake lights, and turn signals. All of the lights must be functioning properly. The inspector will also check the alignment of the headlights. The headlights must be properly aligned to ensure that they are providing adequate illumination. Tires are also subject to inspection. The inspector will check the tires for wear and tear. If the tires are worn below a certain tread depth, they will need to be replaced. The inspector will also check the tires for damage such as cuts, bulges, or uneven wear patterns. If the tires are damaged, they will need to be replaced. The inspector will also check the tire pressure. The tires must be inflated to the proper pressure. The suspension system is also subject to inspection. The inspector will check the suspension components for damage or wear. If any of the suspension components are damaged or worn, they will need to be replaced. The inspector will also check the alignment of the wheels. The wheels must be properly aligned to ensure that the vehicle is handling properly. The exhaust system is also subject to inspection. The inspector will check the exhaust system for leaks or damage. If there are any leaks in the exhaust system, they will need to be repaired. The inspector will also check the catalytic converter. The catalytic converter must be functioning properly to reduce emissions. The steering system is also subject to inspection. The inspector will check the steering components for damage or wear. If any of the steering components are damaged or worn, they will need to be replaced. The inspector will also check the power steering system. The power steering system must be functioning properly to assist with steering. The vehicle's frame is also subject to inspection. The inspector will check the frame for damage such as rust or cracks. If the frame is damaged, it may need to be repaired or replaced. In addition to these specific items, the inspector may also check other components of the vehicle depending on the type of inspection being conducted. For example, the inspector may check the operation of the windshield wipers, the condition of the seat belts, or the operation of the horn. The information provided should serve as a general guide to vehicle inspection readiness. However, it is important to consult the specific requirements in the jurisdiction where the inspection is being conducted to ensure compliance with all applicable regulations. This might entail consulting local Department of Motor Vehicles website.